Aaron is a Ohev Shalom and a Rodev Shalom. Rodev Shalom means, the plain meaning is that he pursues peace, right? Peace at all costs. Right? That's a mistake. That is a common, that's the liberal, leftist, woke joke, that peace at all costs. Because sometimes peace is not available, and sometimes you can't, if you're being attacked by Houthis, so sometimes you got to blow up their port. That sometimes is the best can be a form of communication. We're not going to tolerate this. You're not going to just bomb us. So you're going to bomb us away. We're going to just turn the other cheek, as they say. Well, that's nonsense. Number one. Number two, if a person sees sinners or evildoers doing something, so that's also Rodev Shalom. Rodev Shalom means that Aaron, we think that Aaron is just a pacifist and is everything, with always just flying a white flag. Aaron, Rodev Shalom, the commentaries say, when he had to, even Aaron HaKohen, sweet, gentle Aaron HaKohen, when he had to, he would Rodev, or what's a Rodev in halacha? A Rodev is a pursuer, somebody who's pursuing somebody. He would pursue the sinners, he would Rodev Shalom, that means to break up the Shalom among the sinners. That's also called Rodev Shalom. So you got to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. So what happens? V'dabra Hashem Moshe lemor. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Heishiv es chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael. Pinchas turned back my wrath from the Jewish people. Bikano es kinasi b'socham, by taking my vengeance among them, where he goes and he kills those two people. And I'm sure, what did Pinchas say afterwards? I'm sure, what did he say to Zimri? Get the point? So, maybe not. At the end of the day, Pinchas takes the law into his own hand. He kills them. Therefore, I didn't destroy the Jewish people. Now, the greatness of Pinchas is that he said Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron. Why are we tracing him to Aaron? Why is Pinchas being traced to Aaron? Because Aaron is the ultimate pacifist. See, you wouldn't expect Pinchas to go and be the guy who's going to do this, the guy who comes from a family of an Aaron HaKohen. The answer is no. He is a descendant of Aaron HaKohen, because Aaron himself would have done this if it was necessary. It's not that Aaron would have said, oh, that's terrible. You should really just talk about it, discuss it, have some sort of meeting, have a conference. Right? People say, well, why did Pinchas have to be so violent? Why couldn't he just talk to Zimri after davening the next morning and say, really, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that anymore. No, why do you have to go and kill people? The answer is yes, sometimes it is. The Medrash says that to kill a Russia is like bringing a korban. It's like bringing an offering. It's like bringing an offering, a peace offering. In this case, it was a pieces offering. But it's a peace offering. Okay, so Pinchas, yeah, now, the idea here is that look at the next pasuk. Lachein amor hineni nosei lo es brisi shalom. Now I want to ask you a question. In World War II, when the Enola Gray, was that the name of the plane? The Enola Gray was the plane that was that dropped the first atom bomb, was called Fat Boy, right, on Hiroshima. What would your reaction be if the pilot was then given a Nobel Peace Prize? What would your reaction if he was given a Nobel Peace Prize? He just killed 100,000 people and he's given a Nobel Peace Prize.
Nowadays it's possible.
Nowadays it's possible. I want to tell you something. He would have deserved one. Why? Because it put an end to the killing in the war. They're attacking you. They're not getting the message. They're not being cooperative. So we're going to put an end to it. All right, that's it. Now, how many people have lives been spared because you took and you dropped the bomb? Most people would say, well, give them a Purple Heart or a Medal of Bravery, a Medal of Honor. So what does Pinchas do? Pinchas goes, commits the single most graphically described act of violence in the Torah. And then what does Hashem say? Lachein hineni nosei lo es brisi shalom. I give him my covenant of peace. He gets the Nobel Peace Prize. Pinchas gets the Peace Prize. Does that make any sense? It runs contrary to everything we understand. The answer is, sorry. The answer is, by the way, vigilantism There's a difference between vigilantism and standing up and killing someone. Let's say you see Reuven is chasing Shimon to kill him. What's the halacha? Are you allowed to kill Reuven to prevent him from killing Shimon?
Yes.
Not allowed to. Not allowed to. You have to. If Reuven is pursuing Shimon unjustifiably, then you have an obligation to get involved and save Shimon, even at the cost of Reuven's life. That's not vigilantism. That's something anybody would have to do. If you would ask Beis Din, what should I do? They say, go kill the guy. Vigilantism is when you're killing a guy to prevent him from doing an aveira. He's not threatening anybody. He's doing his own aveira. And the aveira over here was that he's living with a non-Jewish woman. There, the Torah says that you've got an obligation. There, the Torah says only if you're, if you're burning with passion for God's honor, which I told you yesterday has to be 100%. Then you're allowed. So what does Pinchas get? Brisi Shalom. What's Brisi Shalom? A covenant of peace. Why does he get a covenant of peace? Of all the prizes he should get, and again, if you give a guy the Nobel Peace Prize for bombing Hiroshima, people would say, well, why are you giving him a Nobel? Listen, Barack Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize before he did anything. And Yasser Arafat was given a Nobel Peace Prize, right? What do you call Yasser Arafat? I should say, he's given a Nobel. So the price, their standards mean nothing to us, obviously. But the Torah's approach is, 1 second, did you do the right thing or you did the wrong thing? If you killed a pursuer, you deserve a prize for killing the pursuer. And you killed, what did you do here? You stopped the plague from the Jewish people by killing these people. There you get the Peace Prize. You stopped an entire world war. Sorry, you stopped an entire war by dropping a bomb. You deserve a prize. So they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Right? It's only my idea. Nobody asked me. Well, only because I wasn't alive. Had I been alive, they would have asked me. But I wasn't alive. But if they would have asked me, I would have said, yeah, give the guy a Nobel Peace Prize. Do you know that the pilot was named Kripitz or something like that. I forgot his name. They asked him, didn't your conscience bother you? Well, it never bothered me. So it never bothered me. They had to be done. What's the difference? The difference is drop. But if you kill one person, kill 100,000 people. What's the difference? If you have no conscience for killing one person, you'll have no conscience. If you have conscience, you should have conscience for one person also. Even the Israeli pilots who bomb in Gaza, they said, listen, these people are trying to kill my family. What no conscience over here. You'd be wrong for not doing what you're doing if they're trying to kill your family. Of course you have to defend your family for people who are wrong for trying to kill them. So over here he says he gets a peace prize. Now why is that? So let's take it at a plain meaning and then we'll take it at a deeper meaning. Yeah, what do you say? The ends justify the means. No, we never say that. We never say the ends justify the means in halacha. The ends don't justify the means. The means have to be kosher too, but they were kosher means over here. To the contrary, no, we never say the ends justify the means. I can't break Shabbos. I can't break Shabbos because I want to go somewhere to help a little old lady cross the street. Right, the means justify the ends. The means and the ends have to be justified. In halacha, you can't break Shabbos. I can't drive my car down the block to help a little old lady cross the street. But the ends were good. Yeah, but the means were no good. You can't. The means have to be kosher also in halacha. You can't. The ends don't justify the means. The ends don't justify the means. Here, he gets a peace prize. Now, why is he getting? What is this promise of peace? So the basic level is that if you go and you kill somebody, what have you always got to worry about? What's that? The cops. Which consequences?
Like death sentences in this regard.
Huh? There's no death sentence here. Yeah, then he knew he was allowed to do it from a halachic point of view. What do you got to worry about? Conscience? He's got no conscience.
Relatives?
Yeah. What about Zimri's relatives? What about his brothers coming after? You better go into a government witness protection program. They've got these guys that turn state witness, and they put them in a government. They got to protect these guys. Guy goes in, he testifies against the mafia guys. They give him a whole new identity, and they move him out to Omaha, Nebraska, or Santa Fe, New Mexico, or something. They get this guy out of here. And not only that, he's got federal agents who protect him, and these federal agents have said they can't stand these guys. They can't, because these guys are lowlifes also. Remember, if he turned state's evidence, that means he was a criminal too. So this guy's a criminal. He ratted out his other fellow criminals, and now these federal agents got to go protect this guy in the witness protection program. The guys have said we can't stand these guys. These guys are lowlifes, so we have no choice. This is our job. Now Pinchas is nervous. What about Zimri's relative? Not only that, what tribe does Zimri come from? Shimon. What do we know about Shimon's history? What happened when Shimon's sister was violated? They destroyed a whole city. They were bar mitzvah at the time. There was Shimon and Levi. They were only bar mitzvah. That was their bar mitzvah drasha. How's that for a bar mitzvah speech? Come here, Stomites, I mean Shchemites. That was their bar mitzvah. That was their bar mitzvah gift. There was the performance at their bar mitzvah. That's why. So you say, listen, you're talking about Shevet Shimon over here. These people don't take kindly. So first thing is Pinchas is no, you got nothing to worry. They're not going to take revenge. Number one, they're not going to take revenge. Number two, let's take it a little deeper. The original sin of the Eitz Hadas, what was it called? The Eitz Hadas, the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, which was what? Tov v'ra. The tree of life was Tov v'ra. Eitz Hadas, Tov v'ra. That's what it says. The tree of knowledge, knowing good and evil. Now, from the time that Adam HaRishon ate from that tree, prompted by his wife, but from the time that they ate from that tree, from that fruit, which was not what? What wasn't that fruit? It was kosher. The fruit is kosher. It was not what? It wasn't an apple. It wasn't allowed and it wasn't an apple, right? You're right, it wasn't allowed, it wasn't an apple. There's an opinion that it was a fig, there's another opinion it was a grape, there's another opinion it was a wheat, there's another opinion it was an estrog. There are four opinions, three in the Gemara, one in the Medrash. But whatever it is, it wasn't an apple. The apple came from the King James Bible. That's where that nonsense started. And then Hollywood got a hold of it, and so then it's history. But at the end of the day, Eitz Hadas Tov v'ra, two things happened. Number one, death came to the world. There was no death before that. And number two, there is nothing that is perfectly good that doesn't have a little bad in it. If you buy a new car, a perfect new car, a nice electric car, but there's still the hassle, what do you call it? Now they're having trouble with the charging stations. If you got a great job that pays you way more than you deserve, which I told you that's the definition of a great job, pays you way more than you deserve. It's just, one guy in the office who's always a pain. But, so it's never going to be perfect. No situation is perfect. No situation is ever going to be perfect. That's Eitz Hadas Tov v'ra. All Tov is going to have some Ra in it, and all Ra has a little bit of Tov in it. There's no completely 100% situation in either direction. Now, the Jewish people had reached a level of what we would call shleimus. Shleimus means perfection. What created the flaw in the Jewish people? What created the flaw? This Baal Peor business. These Midianite girls, the Moabite girls, and the Baal Peor. It broke the shleimus of the Jewish people. Who restored it? Pinchas. So since he restored shleimus, perfection, or as perfect as people could be, therefore he himself is no longer under the influence of the Eitz Hadas, Tov v'ra. If you're no longer under the influence of the tree, that means what happens? No death. There's no death. What do we know about Pinchas? Hineni nosei is brisi shalom. He gets a covenant of peace. Pinchas never dies. Who do we find out he is later? Eliyahu Navi. Pinchas is Eliyahu Navi, and it's interesting because in the Nach you never find it never says in the Nach anywhere that Pinchas does it. It records the death of most of the big people, when they died, when they lived, when they died. It never tells us about the death of Pinchas anywhere in the Nach. It doesn't say that Pinchas died. Anywhere it doesn't say Pinchas. And he, according to our tradition, Pinchas becomes Eliyahu Navi. And Eliyahu Navi shows up where? At every bris. Eliyahu is Malach HaBris. Eliyahu is the Malach HaBris. What was Pinchas fighting for, the Kedusha over here? The Kedusha of the bris, which is what a Jewish man was defiling. And therefore Pinchas is Eliyahu and he's Malach HaBris. Pinchas is Eliyahu Navi. So Pinchas gets a brisi shalom, he gets a covenant of peace. Pinchas never dies. Okay, now, he changed his name from Pinchas to Eliyahu Navi. When that happened is not clear. When that happens, at what point? It's a good question. At some point, Pinchas becomes Eliyahu. That's not clear if when that happens. Yeah, go ahead. There is another reason why he comes. That's true. There's another reason he comes to bris, because he once said something about negative about the Jewish people, not fulfilling the mitzvah of bris. But Pinchas and Eliyahu, there's no coincidence that he is also the one who's fighting for the bris over here. Okay, so Pinchas gets this, what's called a covenant of Shalom. Covenant of Shalom means it means that he's going to be shalom, he's going to be whole. And he's going to live, he lives forever. The Gemara mentions there are 9 people, there are actually 2 opinions, 9 people or 11 people who actually, the way the Gemara puts it is they entered Gan Eden alive, that they never died as we understand death. Yeah?
The question is, what happened with Elazar? Why he didn't strike the Israel?
Why didn't Elazar, why didn't he do it?
Moshe, you answered because of the conflict of interest.
Why didn't Pinchas' father Elazar? Why didn't Elazar do it? That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know why Elazar didn't do it. But it says, if you look at what do you call it? I may have an answer for you. I think I do have an answer, as a matter of fact, because it says. Go back to that second puzzle. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron Kohen Yeshivat Chamasi Avadesa Bekanoas Kinasi Bisocham. Bisocham. Yeah, this actually will answer the question. The Sfas Emes says that it had. What does Bisocham mean? So the plain meaning is that he took my vengeance among them, among the Jewish people. But the Sfas Emes, I think it was the Sfas Emes, says it had to be a Jew, an ordinary Jew. Bisocham means somebody from among the ordinary Jews. It couldn't be a prominent Jew, which Elazar was at this point. Elazar is the Kohen Gadol. It has to be, because Aaron has died already, it has to be an ordinary Jew who's going to stand up for this. To tell you, that's what the Sfas Emes says. It could be that's why Elazar didn't do it, or he didn't think of it. Why was specifically Pinchas who thought of it? Exactly how it comes out. He's the son of the Kohen Gadol, but he's not considered, he has no prominent position, he's no official position. It has to be somebody in the Jewish people, what you call an ordinary person, as opposed to somebody of prominence. Because somebody of prominence, that's expected of him. We need somebody who it's not expected, who takes the step forward, and he's willing to do it. That's what the Mefarshim said. Okay, now, take a look at the word, Yeshivas Chamasi. Before we look at Yeshivas Chamasi, turn back for a second. Turn back to Parshas Truma. Sorry, Parshas Kisisa, not Truma. I'll tell you what page is. What page?
487.
Thank you. Okay, on page 487, 484. 484. Just keep your finger on the place here. So you'll notice on page 484 it says like this. This is where the command for the Jewish people to give the half shekel coin. They're making a donation to the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, and so it says like this. Third line on page 484, towards the end of the line. Zeyitnu kol over al pekudim, this is what everybody must donate. Machatzis shekel b'shekel hakosh, a half shekel coin. Everybody's going to have to make a donation. 484, third line. 484, third line. Machatzis shekel b'shekel hakosh. Everybody's going to have to give a half shekel coin. Now, if you notice, the word tzedakah, the letter tzaddik, tzedakah, is from the same root, right? Tzaddik is tzedakah. Tzedakah means righteousness. A tzaddik is a righteous person. If you look in the middle of the word machatzis, look at the word machatzis. 4 lines down, machatzis, the half shekel coin. What's the middle letter? A tzaddik. What are the 2 letters on the outside of the tzaddik, the closest letters? On the right side is a ches, on the left side is a yud. Chai. That means tzedakah brings life closer. Look at the 2 outside letters. A mem on the one side and a tuf on the other side. What do you got? Mace. Tzedakah brings life closer and it pushes death far away. Tzedakah brings life closer, pushes death far away. That's what tzaddik is surrounded by chai, and mace is pushed far away. Now, the reason that is, the Gemara says, before, on Yom Kippur people give tzedakah. There's a statement that says, tzedakah tatzil mimaves. Tzedakah saves from death. Why does tzedakah save from death? Tzedakah is one of the greatest merits. A person who's got a life-threatening situation, one of the first things a person should do is give tzedakah. Why? Why does tzedakah save from death? There are two basic ideas. One is that imagine a poor man, and this poor man is literally starving to death, and he needs 10 cents to buy a roll, to buy a piece of bread. He needs 10 cents. He's got 9 cents, and you give him a penny. Now he can buy the piece of bread. With your penny makes him able to buy, he eats this piece of bread, and then because of that piece of bread, he's able to stay alive. And then the next day he finds a job, and after that he becomes a multimillionaire, and then he gives you a big, 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 big thank you, but no money. Okay, so this guy, you didn't expect that, did you? You expected a big check, right? So this guy stayed alive. You kept him alive by giving him tzedakah. Therefore, mida keneged mida, Kodesh Baruch Hu pays you back in kind. You kept him alive, therefore tzedakah keeps you alive, number one. Number two, where do most people get money from? How do you ever get a hold of money? You work. You work. When you work, what are you doing? You're using up part of your life because it's your time. So when you're giving away money, in fact, what are you actually giving away? You're giving away part of your life. So tzedakah tatzil mimaves, tzedakah saves from death because you gave up part of your life, and therefore mida keneged mida, you get life. That's why the letters. I heard there's once what do you call it? There was a kollel guy. Now, yeah, I don't know if you guys know how kollel guys live. I know kollel guys who measure out. You know how you get these you get these these things of the, what do you call it? The sour cream that you eat, leben, and these things that they serve in the little plastic cups that you buy. There are kollel guys who count each one of them. They're living on such a tight budget that they're counting out everything. There are kollel guys who count out how many pieces of chicken they're serving for Shabbos. I know people like that. So there's this one guy, he has his family, and he has one chicken for the entire family for Shabbos, and it's all, you get like a wing or a drumstick, you're not, and it's counted out. And one Thursday night, he gets a knock on the door, and some lady's at the door. She says, please, I want a piece of chicken. So the guy says to her, look, I have a family. I only have one chicken. If I can't give you a piece, one of the kids isn't going to get their chicken for Shabbos. He said, I want a piece of chicken. And they've already got it in the refrigerator. The chicken's cut up in the refrigerator, waiting to be cooked the next day. And he says, I can't give you. So she keeps begging for a piece of chicken. So he says to her, all right, you know what? I'll do without my chicken this Shabbos. So he goes over to the refrigerator. He opens up the refrigerator. His 3-year-old son had crawled into the refrigerator and had closed it on him and was already turning blue in the refrigerator. Because he went in there to get the chicken, to give her tzedakah, to give her the piece of chicken, so his son's life was saved. That's tzedakah tatzil mimaves. When a person is, what do you call it? And by the way, you see other places where it says that honoring parents, what is the reward for honoring parents? Long life, longevity. Do you know that there was a guy in 9/11 whose mother told him that he should leave when the first tower got hit? His mother called him up in the second tower. She said, I want you to get out of there. She said, don't worry, Ma, this is a one-off, the first tower, we'll be fine. And he didn't listen to his mother, and he died. And the difference between life and death would have been if he would have obeyed his mother. That's honoring parents. So you don't know how things work out in life. But we only know that the Torah says it's not a joke. The Torah says this is what happens. So machatzis, tzedakah, tatzil, mimaves. Now turn back to the ranch. Go back to Pinchas. Look what Pinchas did. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Heishiv es chamasi, he turned back my wrath. Look at that word wrath, gentlemen. Look at the 2 middle letters of wrath, mace. Look at the 2 outside letters, chai. And Pinchas turned back the wrath. He turned it inside out. He separated the mace and brought life closer. So that's what the Vilna Gaon says. That's what's alluded to over here. Okay, now. No coincidence. Yeah. Another one of the coincidences in Torah. Now, here comes the big question. If you take a look at Pasuk Yud Daled. Now stay with this, gentlemen. This is a big question here. V'shem ish Yisrael hamukeh, the name of the Jewish man who was smitten, Asher huka es hamidyanis, who was smitten with the Midianite woman, Zimri ben Solu. His name is Zimri. Nisi Beis of Shimoni, a prince. He was a prince of one of the heads of the tribe of Shimon. The Shema Isha Hamuka Hamidyanis Kozbi Bas Tzur. The name of the Midianite woman is Kozbi. Rosh Umos Beis of Midyanhu. She's a Midianite princess. Now I got two big questions here. Question number one is, you'll notice a double terminology by the man. It says Shem Ish Yisrael Hamuka, who was smitten, Asher Huka Esa Midyanis, who was smitten with the Midyanis. He was smitten. It could have just said the name of the Jewish man who was smitten with the Midyanis. Why did it say the name of the Jewish man who was smitten? Who was smitten with the Midyanis. Here the double terminology. Number one, why? And by her it only says Hashem Isha Hamuka, the woman who got smitten. So that's question number one. Why does the double terminology by the man? And by her, there's only one. What do you say?
Maybe there's more of an affair on the guy.
Oh, very good. Did you hear what he said? Maybe there's more of an Aveira on the guy. That begs another question. Did she do an Aveira at all? A Jewish man's not allowed to live with a non-Jewish woman. No prohibition for a non-Jewish woman to live with a non-Jewish man. What'd she do wrong? Why she gotta die?
Maybe she was like flashing herself.
So what? So what? There's no sneers by them.
She was like,
And so why does she gotta die? Why does he gotta die? Why does she gotta die?
she's like reminder to the family of the shame, like you said with the animals.
100% exactly what the commentaries say. Number one, she was trying to incite him to sin. As an inciter, she deserves to die. She wasn't doing it for, she was doing it purposely to get him to sin. So that's already, she deserves to die. But the commentaries actually say the same thing when you kill an animal by bestiality. Why did the animal deserve to die? Because he was the cause of the sin. He was the cause of the sin, so he's got to be taken out. And number two, there shouldn't be shame for the family. So she has to die because she's the cause of sin over here. Even if she's sinless, she's the cause of sin. She has to die, number one. Number two, number three, number four, I don't even know what number I'm on. But why the double terminology? So Eitan said because his Aveira is bigger. So the Ohr Somayach HaKadosh. You were just there yesterday, did he go? How was it?
Amazing.
Hot?
Yes.
That's what I thought, amazingly hot. Yeah, let me have the tissue, please. The Ohr Somayach HaKadosh says, the first Asher Ish Yisrael Hamukeh, Mukeh means he's already smitten from the world to come. He's already smitten from the world to come because of his Aveira. That's the first one. Asher Huka Es HaMidyanis is talking about the physical act of killing him with the Midianite woman. But he is already, his neshama is already cut off. She doesn't have a neshama to cut off, so by her it only says once. But he's got the Jewish neshama. His Jewish neshama is cut off because of what he's doing. So Muka Asher Huka. That's question number one. Now, question number two is a bigger question. And I want you to tell me the question. I want you to tell me the question. Starting from V'Shem Ish Yisrael, Hamuka tells us his name. What's the question? It's a very big, basic question here. It's not deep, but it's very, very basic. But it's very, very prominent. What is the obvious question here? He's a Jewish man. What's the obvious question here?
Why do we need to specify that she was the daughter of the king?
That tells that's going to be part of the answer. That's going to be part of the answer. What's the question? Look back, turn back a page. What did Pinchas do? What does it say? Pinchas goes, take a look when the actual event took place. What does it say?
They were weeping in the entrance of the tent.
Take a look, they were weeping. And take a look at 8 lines from the bottom of the page. V'hinei ish mi b'nei Yisrael ba, on page 874, 8 lines from the bottom. V'hinei ish mi b'nei Yisrael ba, a Jewish man came along, v'yakre v'orecha v'samidyonis, and he brings close the Midianite woman. And then what does it say in 2 lines down? Vayikach Roma, vayova achar ish Yisrael al akuba, vayid korestem es ish Yisrael v'esa ish el kavasa. What didn't it do? And what does it do over here? What's the difference between here and there? These 2 pages. What's the difference? Big question, gentlemen. Come on, you guys can get it. Obvious question. What's the obvious question? Yeah, Moshe. Correct. It didn't. Why are they only identified over here, almost as an afterthought?
Here they
It didn't mention a word over it. All it said was a Jewish man and a Jewish woman. And a what do you call it? Didn't say who they are.
He had the chance for Teshuvah and not bring shame to his name.
Chance for tshuva. I mean, yeah, so tell me his name in his chance for tshuva. Oh, you mean it doesn't want to shame his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have no chance for tshuva. Once he killed him, he certainly didn't have. He could have told us who it was. And only as an afterthought, all of a sudden, at the end of the story, he said, oh, by the way, it was Zimri, the head of the tribe, and it was Cusby, the daughter of a Midianite king. The answer, anybody got an idea? That's the question. The question is, why are you only identifying them now? What's the answer?
For the ancestors? For
No, you're guessing. What do you say, Moshe?
You're not going to let us know he didn't kill just anybody. He killed a very big.
And therefore what?
It's very difficult for someone to.
Number one, it's very difficult. Number one, it's very difficult to get involved. Like, whoa, I don't know if I'm going to get involved. In Italy, there was a trial for 300 mafia guys. There was a judge in Italy who put 300, a few years ago, he put 300 mafia guys in prison. Listen, I don't know. If I was a judge, I would have gone out and played golf that day. I definitely would not be the judge sitting to try to put away 300 mafia guys. And once I do that, I would definitely find somewhere to go. I hear New Zealand is great for judge protection programs. I would go to the what do you call it? I would go to the Amazon rainforest. Anything is better than having the relatives of 300 mafia guys coming after you. So, but he did it. He had the guts to do it. Sometimes it takes a lot of guts. You got to have a lot of guts. Pinchas says, hey, listen. There's a Midianite princess, and this guy's from the tribe of Shimon. None of that was a concern for him. He wasn't concerned with who their people. He was a Jewish man and a non-Jewish woman doing an aver. That's what's going through his mind. Number one. Number two, there's a second reason why you might want to do it. And there's a reason why you might not want to do it. But there's another reason why you might want to do it. Which is what?
jealousy?
No. Sometimes, I could be a hero. I killed a Jewish man. I killed a prominent guy. Not only that, you can either become famous, and sometimes people do it to become infamous. How come you know names? How come you know, what do you call it? What do you call it? Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald. How come you know his name? Because he killed a prominent person. So now we know his name. Infamous, but we know his name. How come you know James Earl Ray? Because he killed a famous person. These are all, what's his name? Hinckley. What was his name? Hinckley. All these guys who killed people or shot at people, sometimes people do it because if I'm not going to become famous, I want to become infamous, but I want people to know about me. None of that was a concern for Pinchas. When he did it, all he saw was a Jewish man and a non-Jewish woman. Then the Torah tells us, and as an afterthought, do you know who these people were? Do you know what the difficulty factor was here? Do you know how like in the Olympics, they hold up when they do a dive, right, from the platform, there's like the degree of difficulty. Certain dives have different degrees of difficulty. There's a degree of difficulty over here. For different reasons, there's a degree of difficulty, in all of which would affect whether or not Pinchas is allowed to do it. Is he a murderer or is he doing the right thing? If Pinchas has any thought whatsoever for personal honor, then he would be allowed to do it. Then he's just a murderer. Then he's not a Kanoim Pogimbo, because Kanoim Pogimbo has to be with perfect motivation. And therefore the Torah tells you all he saw was a Jewish man, a Jewish woman, and a non-Jewish woman. That's all he saw. They happen to be very prominent people. Okay, that's an afterthought. He would have done it to anybody at any time. Therefore, the Torah only names them after the fact. Okay, now the Torah then says like this. I want to tell you an important insight into human nature. V'daber Hashem al Moshe Lebor. Sorores hamidyonim. I want you to, how does the Art Scroll translate it? Harass the Midianites. V'hikisem osam. You're going to go to Midian, and you're going to fight the Midianites. Now here is not telling you the actual war. The actual war is going to come later. Right now it's telling you what's going to be. The Torah is telling Moshe, you are going to do this. And one of the things you're going to do is you're going to harass. The Art Scroll translate is harass. It's a literal translation. But there are different opinions what soror means. What does it mean, sorores hamidyonim? And you're going to go and you're going to fight the Midyanim because of this whole incident of Baal Peor. Okay. Now, what does harass mean? So there was a concept like this. When the Jewish people would fight, when they would go to war, so there was a tactic that they used where when they surrounded a city, they would only surround it on 3 sides, not 4 sides. When you surround the city on 4 sides, it doesn't allow anybody to escape. That means even when Jews fought wars, they fought a war with compassion. I mean, we see this today where the Israeli army is held to different standards than most other armies. You know, what's his name? Putin shoots missiles at children's hospitals and nobody says boo. You know, the United Nations Security Council suddenly isn't aware of the news. Where in Israel, you know, if they kill a terrorist who needed dying, so all of a sudden there's a major oi, oi. So the Jews always fight wars differently. So even when they went to war, they left one flank open, which gave the inhabitants the option of escape. Now, here, the Torah says when you fight the Midianites, you're going to tzororis a Midianim. When you go to war against them, you're going to be closing in on all sides. Now, that's the plain meaning over here. But I want to take this somewhere else. When you close somebody on 4 sides, when you surround them on 4 sides, it sometimes works against you. As an invading army, it's sometimes worth leaving one flank open. Why?
Because they will fight for their life.
Then when you're surrounded on 4 sides, you're going to fight like crazy. They're going to fight. Anyway, they're going to die, so they'll take us back. So sometimes it is strategically sound to. I mean, when you surround on 4 sides, you're certainly delivering a message. That, you know, hey guys, you know, get your last meals because you know we're surrounding you. On the other hand, it may work against you to a certain extent because you're not giving them the option. This is an extremely important rule in interpersonal relationships. When you're dealing with people, particularly with Yiddishkeit, parents raising kids, don't surround them on 4 sides. Don't choke them, because the kid's eventually going to fight back. Don't surround them. Don't choke them off on 4 sides. You got to leave people a little bit of an opening. If you ever have a discussion with a friend, sometimes you have people who are asking, what are you doing in yeshiva? And well, I think that this, and they get you all their opinions about how we come from gorillas and other such intellectual, what do you call it? And anybody you're arguing with, don't bury them. Because what's going to happen is, even if you're right, all he's going to do is he's going to walk away feeling that was a very unpleasant experience with a religious person. Let a person save face. Let them have the last, like, well, when I meant that I don't believe in God, I meant I do believe in God. But even though he's contradicting himself outright, but let him save face, because then he'll walk away. If you'll maybe lose the battle, you win the war. The other way, you win the battle, you lose the war, because the guy says that was a very unpleasant experience. I certainly don't want to have anything to do with religion because these religious people they made me feel bad, and therefore it works with everything. It works with in Yiddishkeit, especially when you're raising children. Sometimes parents are a little too heavy with the kids. Somebody just asked me recently, what if my 9-year-old doesn't like benching? He doesn't like to bench. What should I do as a parent? So people, you got to bench. You got to, life isn't. 9 years old. He's a little pitzel. I had my own kid. My own kid once. My wife came to me. She said to me, "Plony's upset. He doesn't want to bench." I said, "Why don't you want to bench?" It's because I want another brownie. Mommy won't give me another brownie. I said, "Don't bench. I don't care if you bench. Don't bench. You're not doing me a favor. It's between you and Hashem." I walked out of the room. Guess what? He benched. Not doing it very. And I had my other kid who didn't like. I don't like benching it. You like benching? Oh, my favorite, benching. Let's bench. Everybody, let's bench. Baruch. Who wants to bench? I just ate. I can't bench. I just ate. I'm full. Benching always comes at an inconvenient time, especially Friday night after a meal. You're like this after Friday after the meal. I got a bench. Okay, watch bench. Baruch. Great, safe and abuse. Baruch atah. Okay. So I told my kids, when my kid was little, I said, say the first paragraph. Sometimes the kids take the benches like, and I did that on purpose. Next thing you know, he's done before he started. I said, don't go, say the first paragraph, finished. Really? Yeah, just say the first paragraph. And that's it. But if you're going to close it off on 4 sides, all you do, you choke them off. It leaves a bad taste. You don't do that. That's what the Torah says. That's what Torah. So here it happens to be that you're going to fight the Midianites because you wipe them out. You're going to surround them on four sides. But in general in life, don't have to, not leave people room to breathe. And especially in Yiddishkeit, with raising children, make sure you leave room. What were you going to ask, Eitan? You make sure you leave people room to breathe. That's one of the mistakes people make. For good purpose, we want our kids to be better than us, so we don't want them to repeat our mistakes, so we want our kids to be perfect and everything else. But sometimes there's something called trying too hard, and you're putting on a little too much pressure. Take it easy. We go easy on ourselves. We're pretty good to ourselves. We could go easy on our kids. All right, gentlemen, tomorrow I may or may not be here depending on how I'm feeling, because tomorrow's the fast day. So we're officially